The Rowan Committee of Safety was a group that was formed before the revolution actually began, and it was made up of patriot business leaders and just influential community members. And they were here to basically establish what became a patriot government for Rowan County, because if you really think about it, technically we're still part of the King's Dominion, and so we would have
King's Dominion is a very good park.
It is, yeah. I think it's a lot smaller than it used to be. The sun never set on it.
Never.
Anyway,
never at
okay.
all. No.
So it was created because there was no patriot government that was in place. And really what this group of people did is they kind of had free reign over the community. And they would enforce, we talked about this earlier, so this is a recap. They enforced prices for specific things. And of course, Aaron very kindly told us that they did that because when it was time to raise a militia, they would actually have the money and the means to actually get weapons and ammunition and all that kind of stuff. But what they also did is they kind of had a free reign on the law of the county. And so we have a really good story about two guys that got caught up with this Patriot Committee of Safety, and they go by the names of Boothe and Dunn.
Neon Moon's a really good song. Really good song.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, country-wise, Brooks and Dunn, it's more 90. It's not really my thing either. Like Sturgill Simpson and Drive-By Truckers are a little bit more in my lane.
I didn't say Brooks and Dunn.
What?
Boothe and Dunn.
Boothe and Dunn.
Boothe.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty different.
I guess it is then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right.
Well, let's get down into the 1700s part of it.
Yeah.
Not the 1990s part of it.
Sure. Of course.
All right.
Yes,
okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Good. So let's talk about John Dunn first. So John Dunn was the King's lawyer. He had just been appointed right before the Committee of Safety really began to take over control of the government in Rowan County. And so he being the King's lawyer, the King's attorney, he's seen as the enemy. He is the representation of laws that they're trying to break away from. So he's going to be seen as that figurehead. Now, he is one of the original settlers of Rowan County. He's somebody who's been here for a very long time. But at this point with the revolution, that doesn't matter anymore. So John Dunn, who would not swear an oath of loyalty to the Patriot government, which was a big no-no for the Committee of Safety, became that target because he verbally said, I'm not going to do that. The other thing that he may have done, we hear about this, and whether it's true or not, it makes for a good story anyway, is at one point when he's drinking at a tavern, he may have gotten a little bit too loose in the tongue. He called someone's patriot dog, a Tory. And of course, all patriots couldn't stand him calling their dogs loyalists because of course their dogs are patriots. So again, the love of our animals and the ridiculous love of our animals transcends even to today and even back in 1775.
Right there in 1774, 1775, there was a man who came into town from Virginia named William Kennon. And he quickly became an important political and business leader here in town. He helped write the Rowan Resolves and would actually go on to later help write either the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence or the Mecklenburg Resolves, depending on where you fall on that debate. But William Kennon, while he was a patriot, he apparently wasn't always the most upstanding person. He really had it out for John Dunn. And one of the things that he did, once John Dunn, he figured out, oh, John Dunn will not swear an oath to the Patriot cause. I've got him. So he has John Dunn arrested for these acts of, calling somebody's dog a Tory and all this other kind of stuff, these weird things. And they arrest him and they immediately take him out of the county. They take him to Charlotte, they take him to Camden, and he eventually, about a month later, ends up in Charleston. That is the definition of what we now call a kangaroo court. And by the time he gets to Charleston, nobody in Charleston really knows what to do with him. He's down there and he's writing letters back up to North Carolina saying, hey, help me, what's going on? William Kennon actually gets elected to the legislature off of some of this. All right, it's this whole bizarre episode that really has John Dunn in limbo, and it ends in 1776 with John Dunn just being released and sent back to Rowan County like nothing had ever happened. And William Kennan, nothing ever really happens to him because he dies in 1777 whenever he is acting as paymaster for the Continental Army in North Carolina. So this whole episode just underscores what happens when you have this breakdown of law and order.
Boothe was another lawyer that was here in town. Really, in the grand scheme of this whole story, he's a very, very minor figure. What we can really pull out of his story is that he's arrested at the same time that John Dunn is. He's seen as the same type of person that John Dunn was. He's supporting this British government that the Committee of Safety did not agree with. But what we can also pull from his story is that when both of them were in Charleston waiting, and the South Carolina officials were like, we're not really sure what to do, both wives, John Dunn's and Booth's wife, were writing and petitioning these local governments and saying they haven't done anything wrong, they haven't taken up arms, they haven't done any of these things. And to no avail, of course. And it ends up that the reason why they come home is just because the interest just kind of wanes in it. Like
the people locally who were all against this supposed tyranny and, you know, this usurpation of power, whenever they had the chance, they did the exact same thing that they accused this foreign government of doing to them. And the story of John Dunn, who Dunn's Mountain is named after, by the way, is a really good story about how complicated the revolution actually is here in Rowan County.
There is no Boothe Mountain, there's no Boothe River, there's no Boothe Lake that's anywhere in Rowan County. Boothe is going to kind of disappear from history, but we do remember his name and, of course, his story based on when we're looking at how Rowan was reacting to this coming war.
And at the end of it, you say something about Boothe and Dunn. And then I say to you, like, oh yeah, you know, Neon Moon's a really good song. And then you're like, but, you know, that's not quite. I'm gonna be like, yeah, well, you know, I'm more like a Drive-By Trucker, Sturgill Simpson fan when it comes to country. And, you know, yeah.
Oh, okay, so I get to be the smart one this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
thinking.
love it. We'll flip it. I'll take that.
I haven't quite, I didn't go back and reread this morning like I should have. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I read Transylvania Company. I didn't read this.
That's good because I read the other. So
Okay.
that'll work.
Well, that'll work. Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay. If you remember back when we first started talking about the Rowan Committee of Safety, this was a group of loyalists. Just kidding. If you remember when we...
There we go.
It's a good start, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Very good start.
Okay.
We're good. Yep.
Back when we began talking about the Rowan Committee of Safety, I screwed myself up just at the beginning.
This is going great.
It is, yeah.
And like it's this whole kind of bizarre, Hang on. We can't keep moving or else it won't cut right.